Hello, everyone. Today, I want to share my personal story about how I learned English. When I started, I knew very few words. It felt very hard, like trying to climb a tall mountain. But I found some ways to learn that really helped me. I hope my story can help you too. If you are just starting your English journey, it shows that even with small steps, you can learn a new language. Part 1. Feeling lost in a new language. My story starts when I was a teenager. In my school, we learned English, but it was mostly about grammar rules and words from a book. We didn't speak much. I could read some sentences, but if someone spoke to me in English, I understood almost nothing. I felt very shy about my English. Then, one day, my family moved to a new country for my father's job. This country spoke English. I was very scared. I had to go to a new school where all the lessons were in English. The first day was very hard. The teacher spoke, and the students spoke, and I just sat there. It was like they were speaking a secret code. I understood maybe one word in 10. My head hurt from trying to listen. I felt very alone. At home, my family spoke our own language, so it was okay. But outside, everything was English. In the shops, on the street, on TV. English, English, English. I couldn't ask for things easily. I couldn't make new friends. Other students tried to talk to me, but I could only say hello or yes or no. Then, there was always silence, because I didn't know how to say more. I felt very sad and frustrated. I wanted to understand, and I wanted to speak, but it felt impossible. My old way of learning from books was not helping me in real life. I felt very lost, like a small boat on a very big ocean, with no land in sight. I missed my old home and my old friends very much. Every morning, I woke up with a heavy feeling in my stomach. I worried about school. I worried about lunch breaks, when everyone talked and laughed. And I just ate quietly. I worried about going to the shop alone. It felt like a big wall was between me and everyone else. And that wall was made of English words I did not know. I thought, will I ever be able to speak like them? Will I ever feel normal here? This feeling of being stuck, not able to speak, was very strong. It made me want to hide and not try. Part 2. The Power of Listening. Like a baby. After a few weeks, I was still struggling. My teachers were kind, but I knew I needed to do something different. One teacher told me, think like a baby. Babies listen for a long time before they speak. This idea stayed with me, so I decided to focus only on listening. I started to listen to everything, all the time. At school, even if I didn't understand, I tried to catch single words. I watched how people used their hands when they spoke. I listened to the sounds of the words, how they went up and down. At home, I did something new. I turned on the TV, but I watched cartoons or children's shows. These shows use simple words and show many pictures. For example, if a character said apple, they showed an apple. If they said jump, the character jumped. This was very helpful. I started to connect sounds to pictures and actions. I didn't try to remember everything. I just listened, like a baby. I also started listening to English music. I didn't understand the words, but I liked the sound. After a while, I looked at the song lyrics, the words of the song, on the internet. I read them while I listened. Sometimes I saw new words, but many times I saw words I already knew from school. This made me feel happy. It showed me that the words from my old books were real. This listening practice was hard at first because I still didn't understand much. But slowly, very slowly, I started to hear common words more often. Words like hello, thank you, please, sorry, goodbye, yes, no, what, where, when, why. I started to hear common phrases too, like, how are you? Or, it's okay. My brain started to make sense of the sounds. It was like little pieces of a puzzle slowly coming together. I didn't speak much during this time, but I felt my ears getting better. I was still shy, but now I had a plan, and that felt good. My fear was still there, but it was smaller now, like a small cloud instead of a big, dark one. Part 3. Copying and repeating, like a parrot. After about 3 months of mostly listening, I started to feel a bit more comfortable with the sounds of English. I still couldn't speak much, but I wanted to try. My teacher told me, "Now, try to copy, like a parrot." This made me laugh, but it was a good idea. So, I started to copy what I heard. When I watched my children's shows on TV, I would pause the show after a short sentence and try to say it exactly like the character. I tried to copy their voice, their speed, and the feeling in their words. It felt silly at first, doing this alone in my room, but nobody was watching. I said the same sentences many times until I felt they sounded a bit more natural. I did this with songs too. I sang along. Even if I didn't understand every word, I copied the singers. This helped my mouth and tongue learn to make new English sounds. Some English sounds are very different from my first language, so this practice was very important. My favorite thing to copy was simple phrases from daily life. For example, if I heard someone say, "Have a good day," I would practice saying it to myself many times. When I went to the shop, and the shopkeeper said, "Hello, how can I help you?" I would try to say hello back, slowly but clearly. Sometimes, my words were not perfect, but I tried. This copying helped me in many ways. First, it made my mouth strong for English. Second, it helped me remember phrases, not just single words. When you learn, "How are you?" as one piece, it's easier to use than trying to put how and are and you together every time. Third, it gave me courage. Each time I said a sentence, even to myself, I felt a little bit stronger. The fear of speaking was still there, but it was getting smaller and smaller. It was like building a small bridge from my brain to my mouth, one small copied sentence at a time. I was not afraid of making mistakes anymore, because I knew this was how I learned. Part 4. Small Talks and Making Friends. After about 6 months, I felt brave enough to start having small talks. I still made many mistakes, but I understood more, and I could say more simple sentences. My teacher told me, "Don't wait to be perfect. Speak now. Mistakes are part of learning." My first small talks were at the animal shelter. I started volunteering there on weekends. I loved animals, and it felt like a safe place to practice. The animals didn't care if my English was not perfect, and the other volunteers were very kind. I started by asking simple questions. What is this dog's name? Is this cat hungry? Can I walk this dog? People answered me slowly and clearly. Sometimes I couldn't understand a word, and I would say, "Sorry, can you say that again?" Or, "What does word mean?" Most people were happy to explain. I learned many new words this way, words that were useful in real life, not just from a book. I started to talk to other students at school, too, especially during lunch breaks. I started with simple things. Hi, how are you? Or, this food is good. Sometimes, the conversations were very short, but sometimes they continued. I found a girl who also loved to read, and we started talking about books. At first, it was hard. I used very simple sentences, but because we had a common interest, we both wanted to talk. She was patient and helped me. These small talks were very important. They showed me that people understood me, even with my mistakes. They helped me feel less shy. I learned that having a conversation is not about knowing every word, but about trying to communicate. My friends corrected my mistakes sometimes, but always in a kind way, and I thanked them. Each small talk was like a small step up a ladder. My confidence grew higher with each step. I was not alone anymore. I was building real connections, not just learning words. Part 5. Reading and Writing for Deeper Learning. After about a year, I could speak and understand much better, but I wanted to learn more deeply. My teacher then told me, "Now, it's time to read and write more." I started reading books for young people. These books had easier words, but they were longer stories. I read about adventures and friendships. When I saw a new word, I tried to guess its meaning from the story. If I couldn't, I looked it up in a small dictionary. I didn't stop reading for every new word because I wanted to enjoy the story. But I wrote down important new words in a notebook. I also started to write short emails or messages to my new friends. I wrote about my day or asked them questions. At first, I wrote very simple sentences. Then, I tried to use new words or phrases I learned from books or conversations. Sometimes, my friends corrected my writing, and this was very helpful. It showed me my mistakes, and I learned from them. I also started a small English diary. Every night, I wrote a few sentences about my day in English. It was just for me, so I didn't worry about mistakes. I wrote about what I ate, who I talked to, what I saw. This helped me to use English words for my own thoughts and feelings. It made English feel more personal to me, not just a school subject. Reading helped me learn new words and see how sentences were made. Writing helped me use those words actively and think in English. It was like building strong foundations for my English skills. My listening and speaking were getting better because I had more words and better grammar from my reading and writing. This part of learning felt a bit calmer, more about building my knowledge slowly and carefully. I was no longer afraid of big books. They became like friends that held new knowledge for me. Part 6. continuous learning and feeling confident. Now, many years later, I speak English well. I can talk to people easily, read complex books, and work in English. But I still remember those first difficult days, and I still keep learning. Learning a language is a journey, not a short trip. What did I learn from my own story that can help you? 1. Listen first, like a baby. Don't try to speak perfectly right away. Just listen to English every day. Watch simple TV shows, listen to music. Let your ears get used to the sounds. 2. Copy and repeat, like a parrot. When you hear something, try to say it. Repeat words and sentences. This trains your mouth and brain. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. 3. Start small talks. Find safe places to speak, like with kind friends or teachers. Ask simple questions. Don't wait to be perfect. Just try. Every small conversation builds your courage. 4. Read and write for deeper learning. When you feel more comfortable, start reading easy books and writing simple things. This helps you learn new words and grammar. It makes your English stronger. 5. Be patient and kind to yourself. Learning a language takes time. You will have good days and hard days. Don't give up. Every day you try. You are learning. Celebrate your small wins. 6. Find your reason. Why do you want to learn English? For travel? For work? For friends? This reason will keep you strong when learning feels hard. My English journey was not easy, but it was full of valuable lessons. It showed me that with consistent effort, patience, and by not being afraid to try, you can truly go from knowing almost nothing to speaking well. It's a journey of small steps, but each step takes you closer to your goal. So, remember, you are stronger than you think, and you can learn English. Just start and keep going.